Smooth with the gear shifts. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going over a 2022 Kia Sportage. First and foremost though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Jerry Center Kia here in South Salt Lake for giving me some time with the Sportage. Check out their inventory in the description down below. Let's get right into the video. So under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 2.4 liter 4-cylinder that goes through a 6-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 22 around town and then 26 on the highway, with power outputs being 181 horsepower and then 175 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go over the front end of the Sportage. So first off, we've got the projector halogen bulbs, and then notice how we have the accent lighting right next to it. And then down below, we also have the halogen fog lights. And then notice how this trim's all blacked out right here, and then everything here on the front end, and then the grille, but we do have some chrome trim right there. And then the thing that's funny is this is a 2022, but we still have the old school Kia logo there on the front end. I think they're reserving the new logo for when they do the redesign here with the Sportage. But yeah, other than that, that's the front end, and that's my shadow. Now coming on the side here, we've got two 25mm tires wrapped around 18-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you guys can see here for the coloration on the wheels, they're dark metallic gray, which I think looks really good with this particular Sportage because of the silver that it is finished in. And then as for wheel design, this is pretty conservative for Kia. It's nothing too crazy. But moving on from that, we've got the all-wheel drive badge because this one is all-wheel drive. Who would have thought? We got the silver here on the top of the mirror and then the black on the bottom, chrome trim here around the windows. And aside from that, there's your full side view. So here's our key fob, and again, we've got the old school Kia logo. We have our lock, unlock, the opening here for the hatch, and then the alarm. We'll hold that down. And it unlocks the hatch. So you have to pick it up yourself because it is hydraulic. I was excited there for a second because I was like, wait a second, this package isn't supposed to have a power hatch. Well, it doesn't. Now popping here into the rear, opening this up, this is where the spare tire lives out its days. And then you guys will notice storage space back here is actually really solid. Again, this isn't a super large SUV, but it's still practical from a storage space perspective here in the rear. And then you have this grab handle to help with throwing it down, but well, I just do it this way because I'm lazy. And well, there's that. Now finishing things up with the rest of the rear, I really like the taillight design here on this Sportage and how it all connects together. Again, we got another Kia logo, Sportage logo right there. And then you can see the diffuser here at the bottom. And aside from that, that is everything for the rear. Now here's the door panel in the rear. Notice how we have the padding right here with the stitching that goes throughout. And then you guys can see here with the seats, really cool design here with the cloth. So you've got the contrasted stitching, and then you got the rivets here all down the center, and then more stitching down below. And then popping in, legroom, really good. And yes, it does in fact have reclining seats. We've got some vents back here. We have a 12 volt, and then we have the pull out for some cup holders and all that fun stuff. But let's head to the front. Now here's the door panel at the front. So again, you guys can see the soft touch here with the stitching throughout. We've got all of our window controls. We've got our mirror adjustments right here. I know how it's automatic because it does have power folding mirrors. And then you've got the blind spot monitoring. And then here are the seats at the front. So again, same with the cloth, the cool rivet design here down the center, power adjustments on the side. And then here's the pedal layout down below. We've got this for the blind spot monitoring, that is for the lane keep assist, and the steering wheel is manually adjustable. There's where we're looking before we pop in. Now here is the steering wheel with the Sportage. So you guys can see pretty basic from a material standpoint. Again, got the old Kia logo right there in the center. Voice command phone controls. We got our cruise control over here on this side with the Pages button. Turn signal slash light stock, and then we have the windshield wiper stock, and that's all for the steering wheel. Now here's the gauge cluster. We've got analog gauges on either side for the RPMs and for the speed. We do have this screen here in the center which you can scroll through a few different menus to see different bits of information on the Sportage itself. And aside from that, we do have some different drive modes. We have our normal, eco, and then sports that you can go between from a drive mode perspective, and well, there we go. Now here's the center infotainment system. First off, we're going to pop it into reverse. So we've got a backup camera with trajectory lines that do turn with the steering wheel. Resolution's pretty good. And then aside from that, as for the rest of the infotainment system, response time's actually really good. It's got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And I feel like it's pretty easy to use. There's shortcut buttons at the bottom that you can use to kind of access things. So overall, I think they did a good job, and it's nicely integrated here in the dash. And notice there's a stitching here at the top of the dash to kind of make it look a little bit nicer. Down below, we've got our analog controls here for the radio. We've got our analog controls here for the climate system, as well as has a dual zone climate system. We've got heated seats here for the front, and then we've got some 12 volts, USB, all that fun stuff. We have the shifter for that 6-speed automatic with the manual shift function. Drive mode select, hill descent control, and then the locker. We have a couple cup holders here with some extra storage. And then here's the center console. Again, has nice padding and stitching on it. There's the space inside. And then coming over the glove box, you can see that whole setup right there. And that's all for that. Well, finishing things up top, we have a sunglass holder. We've got the lights here that you just click on and off. We've got the mirror system right here, which has the dimming function built in. Pretty nice. And there we go. So it's kind of hard to see the window sticker right here, but again, 2022 Sportage LX all-wheel drive. There are a couple packages been adding to this. The LX all-wheel drive value edition is the main package that's been added to this. It's $2,100. Anyways, total MSRP $29,370. And let's take it out, see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. There's visibility of the hood, both the mirrors, which do have blind spot monitoring, and then throughout the rest of the rear. And, well, let's set off. So we are setting off here in the Sportage. And first off, well, let's talk about the road noise and ride quality. So from a ride quality perspective, ride's how you'd expect it in this segment of SUV. It's smooth, it's comfortable. I wouldn't, call it luxury by any means, but again, that's not what this segment is about. This is comfortable enough for daily driver use, though, and that's all that really matters, right? Aside from that, in terms of the noise insulation, it's actually pretty good. They did a good job with damping everything from, a suspension standpoint to where it's not super loud with the suspension or the tires, and then also just the wind noise and all that. So yeah, I think overall it's solid. And going over these train tracks, that'll really show us how the suspension is here with the Sportage. Yeah, I mean, feel it, right? Every vehicle you're gonna feel it, but that was actually pretty good over the train tracks. So I think they did a good job. Popped in the sport mode, definitely can feel a difference. This is definitely a real sport mode. Some cars, there's not really all that much of a difference, but this, on the other hand, there's definitely a perceivable difference from the regular mode to the sport mode. Smooth with the gear shifts. I'm interested to see how quick they are, because again, this is a 6-speed automatic. This is kind of one of Kia's older transmissions. Downshifts are kind of slow. So the upshifts aren't as snappy as what you have with Kia's more modern transmissions, but they're smooth. And so, yeah, I wouldn't really say that this feels bad because of the transmission. Again, it's not on the sporty side like what you get with other vehicles. So like think K5, for example, or the Stinger, right? Those shifts are nice and snappy. This isn't quite on that level, but it's comfortable. It's really good. So I think they did a good job with the transmission overall. And that'll get me to setting things up here with the Sportage. So obviously this is, calm down there, guy. This is before the redesign. And with the redesign, it's going to kind of look quite a bit different stylistically. I don't think this is a bad looking car, but I think the redesigned version definitely looks better, if you ask me. Aside from that, the other thing to mention is they're going to change quite a bit with the interior and all that. So should you just wait for the redesign, or should you get this version of the Sportage? And what I'd have to say is the redesigned version, right, isn't going to have the same discounts as this version, and it's, everything once they redesign it always goes up in price slightly. So this is just gonna, and I mean, it's kind of the name of this one. This is the value edition, right? This one's gonna be a little bit of a better value, and so if you're just looking for like a good, reliable all-wheel drive SUV, this is great, and it gets good fuel economy. But you know, obviously if you want all the new gadgets and gizmos, then yeah, the new version is going to be the one to get. But if you don't care about that, like I said, this one, it's solid. Now that's going to sum things up for our video on this 2022 Kia Sportage. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to Jerry Sander Kia here in South Salt Lake for giving me some time with the Sportage. Check out the inventory in the description down below. I'll see all of you in that next video.